Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. And I'm having a beer. I am having a local beer. Um, this one is called Last One Down Lager from Wasatch Brewing Company. And it comes in 12 packs of these full pints, which I was happy to see. Because normally you get the pints, it comes in an 8 pack. They're doing full 12 packs of these big boys. 5% by volume, malty, crisp, clean. The official beer of Ski, Utah. So this is definitely meant to be a wintertime lager. I think it's quite delicious. It's pretty light, so a little fruity. I don't know that it's delicious. I don't know that I would put it as a winter beer. To me, that's more of a summer beer or even a spring. You know, but regardless, it's delicious. So anyway, decided that I was just going to jump on and do a live because I have not done a live in a while, and I've cut way back on doing videos as a whole, because I came to the realization that that nobody that is in my demographic that does the content that I do, the vintage gamer type stuff with even talking about current games, doesn't matter. None of us are going to ever get a big following. We're going to have the loyal following that we do have, which I do. I have, quite a few of you guys that are in like every video I do. You guys comment, and all that other stuff. But we're never going to do anything to where we're going to get any revenue from it. Ever since YouTube decided to change the rules years ago, because I used to be monetized way back, and I made a little bit here and there. I'd get a $50 check once in a while, beer money basically. But they changed the rules on that, and once that happened, it was obvious that it was like, okay, they're not they're not ever gonna. Small creators are never gonna even to be able to make a buck at all. So, um, at my age now, I'm like, well, I'm not really gonna waste my time and energy on something that is not gonna it's not gonna be a regular source of even a little bit of beer money or anything like that. Um, so I'll do it more as a hobby. Like I like doing the videos. I like interacting with you guys. But I'm not gonna sweat it. I'm not gonna worry about, oh, I need to do a video today. I need to do a video tomorrow. Fuck it. I'm just gonna do a video when I feel like doing it. And today, my wife and I had a bunch of real life shit to do. We had to go and apply for our passports, um, which I've never had to do before because when I was in the army, I was all over Europe. I was all over Europe. Never had a passport because you have military ID, and your military ID is your passport. So this is the first time I ever had to apply for one. But it's kind of a stressful thing to do. There's a lot of form you got to fill out, and you got to be very meticulous on how you do it, and you got to have all your documentation, and it's a pain in the ass. So we did that, and then we decided, okay, we'll go to an early dinner. We went to an early dinner, um, and then I came home and I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood to do a live, so let's do a live, and let's have a beer at the same time. So, and one of the main reasons I decided to do a live today was I'm sure that you guys follow Young Yi. I think that's how he says his name, Young Yi, big gaming news guy here on YouTube, and he was talking about the pitiful launch of Overwatch 2, and I just had to revel in my smugness because uh, I wanted to say so bad that ever since I said, well, I will have nothing to do with Activision Blizzard as long as Bobby Kotick is still there. However long it was, shit, that might have been a year ago. It might have been over a year. I don't remember how long ago it was. But regardless, I haven't had any, they haven't got a dime of my money, nor will they. And so when this kind of shit happens, I just have to giggle. For a couple of reasons. Number one, the fact that Bobby Kotick is still there and they're still having controversy after controversy, fuck up after fuck up, and somehow he survives all of it. No, that's number one. But number two, and I've talked about this in numerous videos before, back in over the years, I've made this exact video a few times, not just specifically about Activision Blizzard, but they're probably the most predominant ones that do it. And that is, after how many launches, after how many new games online games that they put out, and they have launch day issues and server issues and everything else. And I've said the last several times I've done videos about it, how in the fuck does that keep happening with a company the size of Activision Blizzard? You could throw Bethesda in there too, and Ubisoft and EA and the rest of them, because I'm sure they're all the same. But the bottom line to me is, okay, you've had World of Warcraft for how many expansions now? And you've had Hearthstone and Overwatch and Diablo, etc. And you keep having the same goddamn issues every fucking time. And it's like, how in the hell is that even remotely possible that somebody, whoever's in charge of the hardware and the infrastructure of the system and so forth, how do they not say, okay, this time, because we fucked up so many other times, this time, what do we need to do? Get all your engineers in a room and go, what do we need to do this time to not have that happen? And then have all your engineers, because they're the ones that will actually know what to do. And then you listen to them if they say, we need to put on X many servers, this many servers, and we need to have this much bandwidth, and we need to have this much, whatever it is. And then you listen to them and you do what they say, and then you have a smooth launch. How come that never happens? How come it's always the same fucking thing? Blizzard is going back now, according to Yang Yi's reporting, and they're basically telling the players, yeah, keep putting in bug reports, keep telling us what's wrong. It's like, you're putting this shit on the players? What the fuck, man? As many times as you've done this shit and you guys still can't get it right? Whoo-wee, that is you talk about piss poor management. And I just have to revel in it, because I won't have nothing to do with it, but I have to sit back. I can just sit back and laugh at it. But I feel bad for all the players. They're going through it yet again, that are dealing with another botched launch, of another Blizzard game. And even Cyberpunk, even them, Red Dead, or not Red Dead, damn. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about, the makers of Cyberpunk. I can't think of their name, slipping my mind right now. Even that, they even went through it with Cyberpunk. They had a horrible launch, horrible. Apparently, it's better now, but even they weren't above not fucking up. So let's take a look here. Let's see here. Cyber. Just so I can remember who the hell I'm supposed to be. CD Projekt Red. Even. Hey, Lindus is here. One of my that I spoke about. One of my loyal people that actually, every one of my videos, every one of my lives, or whatever. There's one of them right there. Good old Lindus. Cheers, man. My point exactly, Lindus, is that how as consumers, the gaming community has got to be one of the most tolerant. Now, don't get me wrong; they're one of the most vocal, um, and they bitch the most of most, any other industry. But they're also one of the most tolerant because they keep giving these companies their money. Because if they weren't giving them their money, shit would change. And because it doesn't affect the money, the companies don't give a shit. And they keep putting out bad launches and bad products, and buggy games and whatever. So it's funny. It's paradoxical. Is that a word? Paradoxical. Par- it's a paradox that the one of the most vocal and complaining communities out there is gamers. However, they don't speak with their wallet. They speak with social media. They speak with their words. They speak with their typing, but they don't speak with their wallet. Because if they spoke with their wallet, shit would change, and they don't, because the shit keeps happening. Who knows who the Bethesda is is gonna put out Starfield. Who knows what kind of is that going to be? Is that going to be a smooth launch? That if they were taking bets in Vegas, the money would be against it. That it would be a smooth launch, even though they've done it a dozen times, and all these other companies have done it a dozen times. Whatever reason, it won't be. It'll be full of shit. It'll be full of bugs and all that other stuff. So it's interesting to me that it keeps happening. And for once, uh, it's it's kind of nice just to be able to sit back as a spectator and watch it and go, yeah, I knew that was going to be a fucking, you know, disaster from the get go. So, but anyway, so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I plan to hang out for a bit this time. I don't know how long this is going to go. I'm going to hang out for a while. I'm probably going to do my campaign update while we're doing this live thing here. I'm going to stay on for a while because I want to see if I can get other people to show up and so forth. That way I don't have to do a separate video as a campaign update, because our D&D campaign back here, the last session, holy shit, was that a landmark. Okay, so Lindis, you ask a good question. Please explain to me the thinking process of attacking some mind flayers. So it basically came down to Narmacil, who is our ranger magic user, dual class, deciding that that we followed the trail to them, and he was gangbusters about going in there and taking them on. My character, Clevite, cleric, was like, I don't think that's a good idea. However, Narmacil got the rest of the group to agree on the forward attack on the mind flayers. My character being the cleric, the support class, wanting to be the supportive cleric and not wanting to see his friends fall in battle, and what decided he was going to do, just like any good combat medic would do, follows his comrades into battle, into combat, and that's what happened. I cannot offer any other, unless my buddy Jonathan, who plays Narmacil, unless he happens to jump in here where you could ask him directly. I can't offer any other explanation other than he just wanted to, and everybody else, the rest of the group, Stesh's character Sigrid, who ended up dying as a result of it. Well, you'll see. She didn't exactly die, but we'll get into it. And so unless Jonathan jumps in, I can't go give you any more insight other than that. So nevertheless, I mean, it was fun. It was an exciting adventure and so forth. It had dire consequences, but we're going to get into a little bit later about what has happened since, because Sigrid, as it turns out, was not dead. Well, we don't know for sure, but she's back. Let's just say that Sigrid's back. But we don't know if she actually died or not. It's hard to tell. Details to follow. Um, but do mind do but do mind flayers abide by the Geneva Convention rules on not killing medics? My guess is they don't give two shits about the Geneva if the Geneva Convention was even a thing back in those days. I don't think they would care. But I was lucky. I didn't get my brain sucked out. So Lindis, and I know I've asked you this before. What football team do you root for again? Because I am shamefully wearing my Raiders Bengals. Did they win last week? Because I'm pretty sure you know what the fuck happened to my Raiders. God, it's hard to be a Raiders fan, man. Damn, it's hard. You ain't the only one, man. That's in this season. We've had two of the largest leads that we've ever blown have happened in this season. Two of the like top five. Um, Alex, are you also a Raider fan? um, two of the largest leads we've ever had in our franchise history were this year. A 17-point lead and a 20-point lead that we blew. So, well, Alex, this one's for you, man. Anybody that's a fellow Raider fan, I got a neighbor who just moved in down the street from me, who I just met today, and because he had a big Raider flag in his garage, and I happened to see it, and I was like, I gotta go say hi to those people, and they're from California too, and yeah, it's like we all share the same pain, you know. When are you going to start hating Mahomes? I can't hate Mahomes. He's never done anything to deserve my hatred, as far as I can tell. He is an extremely gifted player. He is the closest player I can compare him to. And Lindis, you might be able to old enough to remember Fran Tarkington, but that's the closest person I can compare him to. But I don't think Fran Tarkington had the number of different passes that Mahomes can make. I don't think Fran Tarkington was known for his uh, not rambling, scrambling, his scrambling ability and getting out of situations and still making plays and so on. And Brett Favre was good at that too. Take Brett Favre's fucking bullshit of what he's embroiled in out of it. Just let's compartmentalize and say as a athlete. Yeah, Fran Tarkenton, Brett Favre, Mahomes, but I think Mahomes is better than both of them. So, now, if the question that you're asking about when am I going to start hating him is some kind of a comparative thing to like Tom Brady, the difference is that I've yet to see Mahomes act like an entitled bitch like Tom Brady does on the field. Meaning that every time that he thinks a penalty should go his way or a call should go his way, he stomps his feet and gets his way, or was able that the team that they're on gets to cheat and get away with cheating, etc., etc., and expected to be the golden person on the field. I've yet to see Mahomes exhibit that same type of personality on the field. Because don't get me wrong, Tom Brady is exceedingly obviously gifted as a quarterback. It's his playing personality and his entitlement as a result of that and getting calls that went his way over the years. Now, I don't know that that's still happening in Tampa Bay. I don't think it's still happening because he's not at the level of prestige that he once was. But in his heyday, you can bet your ass it was happening. And that's why I had a hatred for Tom Brady as a player. Um, I don't see that in Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying that couldn't happen. He's still early in his career. He could end up morphing into that type of entitled person, but I haven't seen it yet. Um, so yeah, I can't I I can't even have hatred for the Chiefs. Uh, I can't have hatred for the Denver Broncos, even though they're rivals. The Broncos are in our division, and they're rivals of ours. I can't have any hatred towards them. Same thing with San Diego. With San Diego. With wow, with the Chargers, even though they're not. Damn, I just heard a lot. Anybody who watches this that's a San Diego Charger fan, that was just like a dagger to their heart. Because like I literally forgot for a second that they're actually not in San Diego anymore. They're actually in Los Angeles. So I can't hate on the Chargers either. So I actually have a good friend of mine who has a YouTube channel called The Director because he's actually a movie director too, but he's a hardcore Chargers fan. And that's what his channel is about. It's all about the Chargers. And he's got quite a few followers. And I gotta put this thing on silent. Everything's going ape shit here. If he sees this, uh, he he's gonna shit himself because he's gonna be like, "Oh, you just had to say San Diego Chargers, didn't you? You just had to." Linda says, "I see the Raiders logo. I still think Oakland." Well, what's weird about that is I have memorabilia. Matter of fact, I have a pennant up on my ceiling um, for the Los Angeles Raiders when they won the Super Bowl. I actually have a big ass pen. I don't have it handy. It says Los Angeles Raiders, and I have a hat that says Los Angeles Raiders on it. Um, so when I started as a fan of theirs in '77, they were in Oakland, and they went to LA, and I lived in LA, and they went back to Oakland. But so when I see this, I immediately flash back to the '70s, which was Ken Stabler, Dave Casper, and all that stuff. Do I have I do not have a Plunkett jersey. I have a Stabler jersey. I have a stitched. Uh, what is it? Stitched. Um, I forget what all the different terms are for like collectible jerseys. And I have the stitched with the numbers that are not vinyl or whatever, but it's not painted on. It's actually stitched numbers on there. I have that Stabler jersey. So I do not have a Plunkett jersey. I should wear that one of these days. I have a painted on Warren Sapp because when I went to a Raider game up in Oakland, San Francisco, we stayed in San Francisco. We went to the Raider store, and the only thing that they had that I liked, the only player that they had that I liked because it was new era, um, was Warren Sapp. In my size was Warren Sapp. They didn't have any of the older players like Dave Casper or Cliff Branch or Mark Van Egan, Kenny Stabler, Ted Hendricks, Lyle Alzado, John Matuzak. They didn't have any of those. So I went with Warren Sapp. So I have that as a painted on, which is the cheaper version. That's the but the stitched one I have of Stabler. So did I miss anything here? Let's see here. Um, Good old Fran. He could get them to the big game, just couldn't win one. Yeah. But you're right. He could not. Him and Jim Kelly, right? Was it Jim Kelly? It was Jim Kelly. Buffalo. 4 Super Bowls, couldn't win one. Um, yeah, I felt bad for Fran Tarkenton and Jim Kelly. And was it Dan Marino didn't win one either, did he? I don't think Dan Marino won one either. Um, yep. See, I know my shit. I've been an NFL fan for a long time. Yeah, and Marino either. Yeah. Marino was known for the fastest release of a quarterback ball release ever. Fran Tarkenton was known for scrambling, and Jim Kelly was just known for his all around, kind of like a. I would put Jim Kelly as a Peyton Manning type quarterback, basically being able to command the field and and march his troops, down the field and everything. And for whatever reason, just like you said, couldn't win the big one, which is weird. Linda says, "Hell, I feel old when I admit that I've only played first edition D&D my whole life." Um, well, it's kind of funny you said that because I grabbed this at random. I've got two of these we're going to go through. I have no idea what's inside because I haven't looked inside these for years. I have two of these. I think these are third edition. The adventure begins here. I had two of these. I got one that I bought, brand new, I think. The other one I got in a collection when I bought somebody's collection. We're gonna go through those in a minute too. So, um, but up until, let's see, well, you say first edition. Okay, so let me ask you this, Lindis. When you say first edition, are you talking about 100% strict first edition, or are you talking about first edition the way we play it, where we have first edition with a sprinkling of some second edition stuff filtered in, because it was much needed? Not necessarily saying that you play pure second edition, but we do first edition with, because Unearthed Arcana is technically second edition, I guess, if you go by the timeline or whatever. But because that was like the beginning of the second. Unearthed Arcana was the beginning of the second edition. But so most people that I know that say they play first edition, there's some second edition stuff sprinkled in, whether it's additional spells, a little adjustment to some of the rules, maybe a couple additional classes that were added in second edition, or do you do 100% first edition? Hey, Mistra, how are you? Well, we do some things like weapon speed factors and stuff. Definitely never played anything like third. So that's what I figured you meant was when you said first edition, I figured you meant kind of a mix, first and second edition. A lot of us old grognards, we all consider that all like first edition basically because it's kind of the spirit. It's one of those like letter of the law versus spirit of the law, and that's like the spirit of the law thing. Um, and that's all like to us, that's all kind of homogenized as like first edition when we think about it. Now you get into third edition and forward, then you're talking about, yeah, to us, you're talking about different editions. Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't that long ago that I could have said the same thing that I was only playing first edition. But then I got into a Pathfinder group. And from the Pathfinder group, then that led into when fifth edition launched. And I decided the only way to get into a group was to try a fifth edition group. And that was when I got it. But we've since gone back to first edition. So, Mr. says, I've been playing Wrath of the Righteous, and this is the true successor to Baldur's Gate 2. In my opinion, not 3. The mechanics, gameplay, the story choices can make the best I've seen in a RPG since Baldur's Gate 2. So, Mistra, I have a plan where during the summer sale, there's gonna be a summer sale. Wow. During either the fall sale or the winter sale that's going to come up here next on Steam, there's going to be, I guarantee you, there's going to be a thing where I can get both Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous together for a discounted price. I'm going to buy both of them, and I'm going to start with Kingmaker and play through that, and then into Wrath of the Righteous. Because I've been watching all of your posts and stuff. Believe it or not, I've been watching all your stuff on Twitter and so forth, and you alone have gotten me to the point where I'm going to try it. So I'm almost out of beer.